Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Dr. D.S. Dami, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Kumar University Campus Almora. In the series of online lectures, today we will be discussing mass spectrometry. It is one of the very important microanalytical technique requiring very less amount of sample for the analysis. And it is a kind of destructive technique as once sample is used, then it cannot be recovered. Like spectroscopic techniques such as UV, visible, NMR, ESR, rotational, vibrational spectroscopy, it does not involve any interaction between electromagnetic radiation and matter. That's why we call it spectrometry, not spectroscopy. Clear? Now coming to the usage of mass spectrometry. Mass spectrometry tells us about the valuable information about the compound. With the help of it, one can easily determine the relative molecular mass of given sample, molecular formula determination. One can check the favorable site of fragmentation within the molecule, and one can detect the presence of isotopes of any particular element within the sample, and one can verify the purity of known compound. Now coming to the basic principle of mass spectrometry. In mass spectrometry, a vaporized sample, it may be either inorganic or organic, is bombarded with the beam of electron having very high energy, which is produced from the heated tungsten filament. And this vaporized neutral sample is converted into radical cation, which is also called molecular ion or parentyne. It is the species having odd electron along with the two electron. One is coming from sample molecule and other is coming from the heated tungsten filament. Here you can see one electron is denoted by dot and other is denoted by cross. Now out of 70 electron volt, approximately 8 to 15 electron volt is consumed in the ejection of electron from the vaporized sample. Rest of the energy is consumed in further fragmentation of this molecular ion or radical cation into ions having smaller masses along with neutral molecules, free radicals and anions. The beauty of mass spectrometry is that it does not recognize the neutral molecules, free radicals and anions. It only recognizes the cations or radical cations. The mass spectrum is plotted between relative abundance, it means how many number of particular ions are there in the sample, and mass to charge ratio. Relative abundance is taken in y-axis while mass to charge ratio, which is denoted by m/z. M to Z ratio is taken in x-axis. Here you can see mass spectrum. Now mass spectrometry works on three functions. First, ionization, then separation of ions in magnetic field, and third one is detection of ions in the detector. Now coming to the ease of ejection of electron. Ease of ejection of electrons. Organic compounds can have sigma electrons, pi electrons or non-bonding electrons. Since sigma electrons are strongly held while pi electrons are loosely held, That is why sigma electrons can be easily removed from the sample. Here, let us take the example of CS3COCS3. In this molecule, we can have non-bonding electron, pi electrons, and sigma electrons. If this molecule is subjected to the bombardment with electron of high energy, then at first lone pair will knock out because it is loosely held. The order of each of ejection of electron can be given as lone pair of electron. The correct order will be lone pair followed by non-conjugated pi electron followed by conjugated pi electron followed by sigma electron. This is the correct order of the each of ejection of electron. Clear? Next, instrumentation and working of mass spectrometer. The various parts of mass spectrometer are slit A, slit B, slit C, slit D, slit E, next detector, amplifier and recorder. Now coming to the various chambers present in the mass spectrometer. The first one is sample vaporization chamber, which is present between slit A and B. Second is ionization chamber, which is present between slit B and C. Third is ion acceleration chamber, which is present between slit C and D. Fourth one is mass analyzer, which is present between slit D and E. Now working of mass spectrometry. At first sample is introduced from this sample inlet and it will be entered to sample vaporization chamber where heating coil will be present there. If the sample is gas, then there is no problem, but if the sample is solid or liquid, then it has to be converted into vapor. The vaporization is done by the help of heating coil. Then the vaporized sample will enter to the ionization chamber through slit B, where electron gun will be present there, and the electron coming from tungsten filament is made to strike with this vaporized sample molecule, and it will convert this neutral vaporized molecule into radical cation M plus radical, which is called molecular ions. Then this radical cation is further undergo fragmentation into different ions having different mass to charge ratio, and in this chamber there is also present electron absorber. After then, these fragmented ions will enter to the ion acceleration chamber, where a certain amount of electric current is supplied through these electrodes, and the positive end of these electrodes will repel these positively charged ions towards the mass analyzer, where a small variable magnet will be present in mass analyzer, and in the presence of external magnetic field having the strength H, the deflection of these ions takes place. After passing through the mass analyzer, these ions move toward the detector, and then they go to amplifier, where the signal coming from detector in the form of charge will be amplified, and these signal are recorded in the recorder, where we can get the spectrum. This is all about the instrumentation and working of mass spectrometry. Now coming to the some basic equations involved in mass spectrometry. Some equations in mass spectrometry. When the vapor molecules are enter to the ion isolation chamber, then they will get some kinetic energy which is equal to the 1 by 2 mv square. It will be equal to EV. It will become the equation first. Here m is the mass of ion, v is the velocity of ion, E is the charge on ion, and V is the potential difference applied on these electrodes. This is equation 1. While in the mass analyzer, in presence of magnet having the strength H, these ions feel the magnetic force which is equal to the HEV. This force is exactly balanced by the centripetal force acting on these ions, which is equal to mv square upon r. This is equation 2. Now squaring both the side of equation 2, h square e square v square equal to m square v square oblique r. This is equation 3. Or h square e square, here v to the power 4, m is h square e square equal to m square v to the power 2 oblique r square. Equation 4. Since we have one equation 1 upon 2 mv square equal to EV, then mv square equal to 2 EV. We can rewrite equation 4 in the form h square e square equal to m into mv square oblique r square. Or h square e square equal to m dot 2 EV oblique r square. This is equation 5. Alright. Then E will be cancelled by this E square. H square E equal to M 2V upon R square. This is equation 6. On rearranging equation 6, we get M oblique E equal to H square R square oblique 2V. This is the final equation. Equation number 7. This is one of the important equation involved in mass spectrometry, where m is the mass of ion, E is the charge on ion, H is the strength of magnetic field, R is the radius of ion, V is the potential difference applied. With the help of this equation, we can easily determine any one of these variables. Now there are some more relations in mass spectrometry. M upon E is directly proportional to R square, which is inversely proportional to deflection. From here we can say that lighter ions will reach to the collector first, while heavier ions will reach to the collector last, and gradually they will be separated in the detector. So far we have studied basic principle and general instrumentation of mass spectrometry. In the very next lecture we will discuss some other topics of mass spectrometry. Thank you again, once again, thank you for watching my video. Thank you.